Check that out. This is what happens when you work with concrete every day and you don't have a good pair of boots. Ooh. Hello YouTube. I wasn't going to do this video. I really wasn't. But it's time somebody came out and said it. So the reason I wasn't going to do this video is because I figured, okay, I'm burned on these boots twice and I already knew better than to buy them. I was just buying them as like a cheap way to get me by for a couple of months is what I was hoping, while I saved up a little money to get a good pair of boots. So I went and bought a pair of Walmart boots, and then I went and bought another pair of Walmart boots, and they both suffered failures caused by the same problem, which I'll get to in a moment, hopefully. Don't let me ramble your ear off. And as much as I don't want to just explode and rant on a video, like, I kind of feel like exploding, because when I went to search the title for this video, all I found was positive things people say about different types of boots. Wood stove's starting to warm up. I'm gonna have to open a window in a minute. All I'm hearing is all these good things, even about these very same boots. And somebody on my Instagram even replied to a message with, "Oh, this kind is okay," and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, they're not okay. They're never okay, and I'm never buying another pair of rubber boots from Walmart ever again. So let me show you a couple things to help kind of place where things are going. Ugh. These were bought for me by my former employer, Baker Hughes, and this says Schmidt on the bottom. I think it's Schlumberger. They used to buy us, I don't remember the brand name. Anyways, these boots have been doing oil field work for 4 years, and then I got out here and these were my go-to Muck boots. They were my go-to work boots, which I work in precast concrete, so it's not like I'm standing in concrete all day. It's just, it gets a little messy and a little muddy, and there's almost always water up to your ankles at some point during the day. And these guys actually held up pretty good, even in that environment, until I stepped on a couple of, you know, rusty pieces of steel that were just happened to be poking up at the wrong moment. Put my foot down on them, and you know, so there's a couple holes punched in the bottom of these from that abuse. So naturally they started leaking a little bit of water. Even so, I'd rather wear these than those things. Like, if I had the choice right now, I'd rather put these on and go to work than those. Now, this is probably a $200 pair of boots. Oil companies aren't cheap. So I'm not suggesting that you go out and get a $200 pair of boots. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, I'm sure if you're just mowing the lawn or doing a little bit of this or that, and you don't absolutely need your boots to be 100% waterproof all the time, and you don't need them to, you know, hold up to moderate abuse, you're just walking around on flat, level surfaces all day, like, maybe you could squeak by with them for a little while, but I still wouldn't recommend it. The reason I wouldn't recommend it is the point of failure. Okay, so I've got 2 pairs of boots down here that are still sitting inside because I can't figure out what to do with them. Let me get all those scuzzed up socks out of the way. So this first one is steel toe, slip resistant, blah 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 blah. I can't even read the brand name, but as you can tell, I wear my boots. These aren't brand new bright shiny boots that I just purchased today and decided to do a video on. I don't know the brand name. It doesn't even matter. There's 2 types of boots at the local Walmart that they carry for rubber boots, and there's a big shelf of them, so that's like the go-to default rubber boot section. See this little hole right here? That is not from a piece of steel poking through my boot. It's not from bumping into something, and I almost want to say that it's not from walking over kind of semi-rugged terrain, even though that's part of the problem, more than likely. Now, this failure is from taking the boots on and off. Putting them on and taking them off causes a failure, and the rubber rips because there's a weak spot there. And if you look at this, you can't see it, but I can. This isn't even a 1/16 of an inch thick. Like, this is flimsy rubber band rubber right here. No wonder it broke. And yet people on the internet are talking about how awesome these are. Right. the other boot has the exact same failure in the exact same spot with the exact same thin rubber. So those got trashed, water started leaking in, no problem. I'll just go and get me another pair of boots. It'll hold those I think held up for a couple weeks. Maybe even a few weeks. They may have lasted like 4 or 5 weeks, I don't remember, until the water leaking in got so bad that I just got frustrated and I was like, you know what, I need another pair of boots. So then I went out and bought another pair, the $30 pair. That was the $20 pair. Thinking, okay, maybe these will be a little bit better, you know, $30. These didn't last a week. Look where these failed. Boop. See that big honking mouth on there? And the other boot, just to give you a comparison. It's not as big yet, but same exact spot right there where the sole meets the upper. It's just ripping off. Basically the sole's ripping off, and once again you stick your finger down here, the rubber's a little thicker, but there's a thin spot that runs right along that bead. Like, that's just part of the injection molding process, I guess, that these follow. Let me grab the one with the bigger crack in it so I can look at it more closely. Yeah, this is actually a little thicker. This might be a 1/16 of an inch. Ooh, big heavy duty rubber boots, right? Does this have a brand name on it? Probably not. If I made these, I wouldn't put my brand name on it. Yeah, I'm sure it's on there somewhere. Ooh, made in Canada. I can read that. Yeah, junk. So I'm not really peeved about the boots. I mean, the $20 and $30 pair of boots, but obviously if I kept buying these things, it was only a matter of time before I spent $200 on boots, so I may as well just get a good pair. I'm not going to do a good review on my Muck boots yet that I bought because I haven't worn them except for one day, and I wasn't sloshing around in concrete today either, or concrete water or whatever. I got into a little bit of mud and a little uneven terrain, but mostly I was running a plasma cutter today and doing a few things outside. So this is the Muck Chore, and these aren't, they've got a rubber clad on the bottom, but the inside of these boots is actually made of neoprene, not rubber. So, and they're supposedly a pretty decent boot, so I'm hoping these hold up. These cost $100, so basically 4 of those, you know, that I could run through in as little as 4 weeks, versus a boot that will hopefully hold up for a little bit longer than that, for the same price. So that's my logic, that's my thinking. Again, I'm not going to say if those are any good or not because I haven't worn them long enough to be able to tell you that. But what I am going to say is, don't go around believing, like, just because somebody on the internet got a pair of rubber boots. And the other thing about these videos, I keep seeing all these boots in these videos given the positive reviews, they look like brand new boots that have never been worn. They're still shiny, for God's sakes. Like, what are you mucking around in that you need a pair of Muck boots that's going to hold up, that warrants you to give a review on boots that aren't even dirty yet? Like the soles in one of the videos, the soles of the boot looked like they had never touched concrete. And I'm not talking about wet concrete, I'm talking about pavement. Like, they weren't scuffed, everything was shiny and brand new. So I guess they wear Muck boots in their kitchen while they're cleaning the floor. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing, and maybe that's a good use for these boots. But what I do know is just taking them on, or putting them on and taking them off, seems to be enough to rip them, tear them up. And like, other people may recommend them as like a deal or a bargain or whatever, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to recommend those boots to anybody. They weren't recommended to me. I knew it was a bad idea to buy them. I just thought I'd squeeze a couple extra weeks out of them than what I did. And that plan just turned to crap real fast, especially after those ones failed after a week. I was like, I'm done. You know, both boots failed in the same exact part of the boot. As soon as I got home and took my boots off, it just, and then the next day my foot's full of water. You want to see what a chemical burn looks like? Ooh. Check that out. This is what happens when you work with concrete every day and you don't have a good pair of boots. So I need my boots to be waterproof, because if my socks get soaked in that crap that I'm working with, it's going to be no bueno. And then I'm nursing this stupid thing for, you know, probably another week, limping around like a freaking gimp. But yeah, so I'm hoping that, and no offense by the way to anybody that might have a disability, I'm just kind of venting, let me vent. So hopefully these will hold up. But I seriously, you know, the conventional wisdom, walk in your local hangout, wherever people hang out that work for a living, and ask them about a $20 pair of Walmart Muck boots and see what they say. They're all going to tell you they're crap because they've all bought them and they've failed on all of them. You know, all the guys in town here who work on farm stuff, they're not doing concrete. They're just wearing them around the farm. They fail on them. My neighbors down the street have a garden, and that's 90% of their work boot needs are for their garden. They don't like having Walmart work boots either, and they agree with me. They just fall apart. You put them on and take them off a certain number of times, and then they're done. They're over with because the rubber is so thin that it fails, and the failure is almost universally somewhere at the bottom, wherever you're gripping it with the other boot to kind of pull them off, you know, because you got to get something to get these started unless you want to put your whole hand in a clump of mud or manure or whatever to pull your boots off. You're going to kind of get them started with the other foot. And apparently these can't stand up to that. So if you're doing anything that's even half-ass messy, like, don't buy Walmart boots. Just, if it's going to be a thing where you need boots for a prolonged period of time, go and buy a good pair of boots. Find out what your local buddies and everybody's recommending. I had one guy recommend me a pair of boots, and he couldn't remember the name of them. He said he orders them online, so I might look into those, but it's supposedly like an $80 boot, and it's completely indestructible according to him, and he swears by them. So that might be in line for my next pair of boots if these start wearing out or whatever, where I may just go ahead and get another pair of boots in a couple months just to be prepared for when these wear out, because I'm sure I'm going to wear them out. But I hope I'm wrong, but I'm really sure that I'm going to wear them out quick. I don't care how fancy the label is or how much people praise them online as being some ultimate boot. So in case you're wondering, the boots that I'm trying is the Muck Boot Company Chore. So if you've got some experience with these, wearing them around the farm would be the most comparable situation to what I'm doing with the concrete. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be working in concrete to give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on these, but I'm gonna see how they do. They were about $100, and if they last me 6 months, I'll be happy with that, because in that 6 months time I would have spent 4 times that amount on Walmart boots. So at least according to my current track record. So I just wanted to put this out there because there doesn't seem to be another video stating this unless somebody's promoting another type of boot, and I'm definitely not promoting these. Like, I'm not getting paid by the Muck Boot Company. I don't, you know, I haven't worn them enough to know if they're going to fail or not. If you're just pulling boots out of the box, you can't do a review on them because you haven't worn them yet. You know, come back to me in 6 months and tell me how they held up and what you put them through day in, day out, and then we'll see how badass your boots are. But so I may do a review on these in the future. I may not. I don't know, because there's already a dozen other reviews on Muck boots. You know, you just type in Muck Company when I say chore, and you're probably going to find 100 reviews on them. And maybe some of them are honest, some of them maybe not so much. I don't know. But anyways, before I rattle on, I'm going to call that the end of rant. TLDR, don't buy Walmart Muck boots ever. And don't forget to subscribe. Ha ha!